Technical Advisory Committee underway to ascertain safety of presidential air fleet. Nigeria showcases naval heritage as it clocks 68 years. And on global scene, Mohammed Mokhber appointed acting president of Iran. Hello and thank you for joining us on the Network News on NTA. I'm Najat Tijani. Reading with me tonight is Adiola Komiakere from Lagos, our Lagos studios, while Musa Abubakar is here in Abuja with business news. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu extends condolences to the government and people of the Islamic Republic of Iran over the passing of President Ibrahim Raisi. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian and other officials in a helicopter crash. President Tinubu expresses profound grief over the disturbing tragedy, describing President Raisi as a leader who was passionately committed to the development of Iran. While commiserating with the bereaved families, President Tinubu prays for continuous peace, stability and prosperity of the Iranian nation. On behalf of the government and people of Nigeria, the President assures the Islamic Republic of Nigeria's support and prayers in this moment of grief. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei has appointed Vice President Mohammed Mokhber as acting president following the death of President Ibrahim Raisi in a helicopter crash, as world leaders send in condolences. Uche Ugochukwu has details.
Iran's first vice president, Mohammed Mokhber, becomes the acting president following the death of President Ibrahim Raisi. He is a conservative political operative with a long history of involvement in large business conglomerates closely tied to Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. In a statement, Khamenei said Mokhber must work with the heads of the legislature and judiciary to hold elections for a new president within 50 days. Meanwhile, Iran has declared 5 days of mourning in the country, with flags flying at half-mast as condolences continue to pour in from world leaders to mourn President Ibrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahi, who died in the helicopter crash. Many world leaders, including the European Union, China, Russia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, have sent their condolences to Iran, expressing sadness over what they described as great loss to the world and pledged collaboration with Iran. 63-year-old Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi was elected Iran's president in 2021, having led the country's judiciary and other top officers. He was a figure representing conservative and hardline factions in Iranian politics and was president for nearly 3 years and appeared on track to run for re-election next year. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Back home in Nigeria, the Senate has engaged stakeholders on a bill which calls for a 300% salary increase for judicial officers at federal and state levels. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The salary increments coming through an executive bill from the presidency seeks to address the 17 years of stagnation of salaries and emoluments of judicial officers in Nigeria. Minister of Justice and his counterpart from the Finance Ministry said the decision of government to approve the 300% salary increase is to truly make the judiciary independent.
An attempt and an initiative to improve the lot of the judiciary to the benefit of the judiciary in particular and Nigerians in general.
A focus on judicial reform is not only about judicial remuneration. In consultation with the judiciary and other key stakeholders, we are also interested in ensuring a holistic review of our judicial system to respond to the justice needs of Nigeria.
The National Assembly wants the federal government to go a step further by improving disengagement benefits for those who served in the Temple of Justice.
Forge a salary and benefit structure that not only meets the basic needs of our judicial officers, but also provides the incentives and support necessary for the maintenance of a robust and independent judiciary.
Other stakeholders made suggestions on effective implementation for efficiency.
Provisions of the bill, which simply put does not recognize seniority on the bench. For example, a High Court judge appointed in 2024 by the provisions of the proposed bill will earn the same basic salary as his brother judge appointed a decade before him. It may be necessary to review the provision of the long service allowance to cure this anomaly.
Not only the judicial officers, and it's not only salary that concerns us, though it is very important.
The salary increase for judicial officers is already captured in the 2024 appropriation bill signed into law by President Bola Tinubu. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The National Judicial Council says it is determined to empower judicial officers across the country for speedy dispensation of justice. This development is one of the low-hanging fruits of the just concluded National Summit on Justice. Dele Atumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports that the latest effort is the induction course for the newly appointed judicial officers of the lower courts.
The National Judicial Institute is the training arm of the National Judicial Council, saddled with the responsibility of enhancing the performance of judicial officers and their supporting staff by exposing them to new trends in the administration of justice. For all the key players in the justice sector, quick dispensation of both civil and criminal justice is what Nigeria and Nigerians deserved. And to achieve this, the National Judicial Institute is upping its game in training and retraining of judicial officers to ensure dispensation of justice in all matters put before the judiciary for adjudication. Participants in this all are the newly appointed judicial officers for the lower courts.
I assure you that you have joined the bench at a time where several notable reforms are being made and many challenges which the judiciary has faced over time are now being largely addressed.
I encourage you to dispense justice without fear or favor and to remain steadfast in protecting the integrity and reputation of the judiciary. Lastly, I urge you to be firm and open-minded and to refuse to condone any action that may adversely affect the speedy dispensation of justice.
The key players expect the new judicial officers to strive towards achieving excellence and be irrevocably committed to upholding the rule of law and protecting the image of the Nigerian judiciary. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has resolved to set up a technical advisory committee which will look into the condition and safety of aircrafts in the presidential air fleet. The chairman, House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, stated this after a meeting between members of the committee and the commandant of the presidential air fleet, as well as representatives of the Office of the National Security Advisor.
Doing okay for now, and then it's not issue of either to repair or to think of getting new one, but all what we know is that as a country, as Nigeria, our position in the global policy, we need something that will represent our image, because our pride will show how Nigeria it is. So therefore, we are yet to conclude or finalize, but they have explained enough. Some of the incidences are just media propaganda. It's not what we have expected or what we are thinking that it happens. Is something different. So I think for now, the technical team will engage all the stakeholders in the presidential air fleet who has something to say. At the end, we'll come up with a final resolution.
The House resolved to investigate the state of the presidential air fleet following media reports of alleged faulty aircraft in the fleet. And the National Commission for Nomadic Education has submitted a memorandum on ways to improve, strengthen and sustain nomadic education in the country as an avenue towards equipping nomads with sound and quality education. This was during an interactive engagement with the House of Representatives Committee on Alternative Education. National Assembly correspondent Isa Muhammad reports.
Nomadic education was introduced to provide nomad children with sound and quality education in every discipline for them to be integrated into the society. Statistics show that there are more than 7,000 nomadic schools and 12,000 teachers across the country, with 2,700 pupils learning and grazing at the same time. It is on this backdrop that the Nomadic Education Commission forwarded this memorandum on strengthening and sustaining nomadic education.
We have over 7,000 schools. What will be the effect? We have trained staff that can move in all those nooks and crannies to get to those destinations and then give them the desired education they want.
The idea of initiating nomadic education is to provide them or to equip them with a knowledge that will enable them to boost the particular sectors of this economy that we are all proud of it.
The committee assured the Commission of Quality Legislation.
Even if at the end of the day the agency doesn't exist, the basic thing we are talking about is how the reflection of the success will go into the nomad and benefit what is supposed to benefit across the country.
The engagement is coming as the government is planning to merge the Nomadic Commission with relevant agencies, which many kicked against the merger. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
Congratulations are in order as President Bola Tinubu warmly hails Alhaji Akoni Seriki, the Akpashe of Ekpeland, on his 85th birthday. President Tinubu joins family, friends and members of the Governance Advisory Council of Lagos State to celebrate a distinguished Nigerian renowned for his integrity, loyalty and nobility. The president salutes the octogenarian for his many passionate endeavors, strengthening the weak and providing material and economic comfort to many families. This is the Network News on NTA. Stay tuned for more reports after this break. All is now set for the commencement of the 6th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament Extraordinary Session in Kano. As a prelude to the event, the Rule of Procedure, Strategic Plan for the Legislature and the 2024 Work Programme have been adopted. ECOWAS Parliament correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali is in Kano with highlights of the event.
Thank you, studio. Right here, I'm at the venue of the 2024 Extraordinary Session of ECOWAS Parliament holding in Kano. Where issues of concern that has to do with West African states will be discussed. And members of the parliament have arrived since from yesterday and still are trooping in, to attend this session. We are here and we are going to give you details of this engagement of 5 days. Sir, can you tell us what are the thematic areas that you're going to discuss in this 5 day of engagement?
Thank you very much. First of all, I go by the name, or I remain Honorable Bile G. Tunkara, Member of Parliament from the Gambia, Majority Leader of the House of National Assembly in the Gambia, and who doubles as the 4th Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament. Our coming here is part of our parliamentary engagement. How do you bring closer Parliament to people? We are here to discuss burning issues concerning the West African community. As you all know, ECOWAS is faced with so many challenges. And as a representative from all around the West African countries, except 3 countries, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, all the other 12 countries are represented here. So we expect during the deliberation to discuss issues and concerns to the community, ranging from political issues, ranging to security issues, and as well as how do we uplift the lifestyle, the life of our citizen represent Member States.
You've heard from the fourth Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, where he shed more light on the thematic areas this engagement is going to likely to be. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Muhammad Rabiu Ali. We look forward to updates. The stakeholders in the judiciary and electoral process are advocating a review of some provisions of the Constitution and Electoral Act to enhance effective and efficient adjudication of electoral matters. The unanimous view during the review of the 2023 Elections Petitions Tribunals and Appeals in Abuja. Judiciary correspondent Austin Anyebe reports.
It's almost a year that the 2023 general elections produced new set of political leaders from Nigeria. Within this period, those who disagreed with the process have challenged outcome at the tribunals and justice served. Now it is time for the judiciary to hold a postmortem and review the adjudication process at the 99 election petitions tribunal panels and appeals at the appellate court. President of the Court of Appeal commended judges who participated in the electoral judicial process.
Section 187 of the Constitution, Section 233, Section 246, Section 285 came on during the proceedings.
Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwola, tasked judicial officers on uprightness, urging them not to be intimidated by media trials.
We should be very mindful of the enormous confidence the public reposes in us and their great expectations as well.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice and other key stakeholders who participated in the 2023 electoral process commended the judiciary for stabilizing Nigeria's democracy.
We no doubt satisfactorily dissect the issues arising from the themes of these workshops. I therefore look forward to the resolution of this workshop to provide further guidance for me in my commitment to enhancing the quality of administration of justice and adherence to democratic principles in our country.
Reviews are moments that enable us to reflect on what we have done and be able to understand how we can take on board.
The workshop is expected to come up with recommendations for reforms in the electoral process. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
And to education. The Petroleum Technology Development Fund has commenced a selection exercise through an oral interview for 600 applicants vying for the 2023-2024 Overseas Scholarship Scheme for Masters and PhD programs. Gabriela Munike reports that the exercise is for applicants from the South-South geopolitical zone.
The 2024 Petroleum Technology Development Fund (PTDF) exercise, which commenced on Monday 2024, had shortlisted candidates who were divided into two categories, Masters of Science and Doctor of Philosophy. The candidates began their interviews on the same day with the intention of concluding the process on Friday, May 25th, 2024, across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria.
The Overseas Scholarship Scheme is well thought out and well implemented, and we have been able to fill these gaps over the years. We train the best of Nigerians. We pride ourselves that PTDF scholars are known everywhere in the world. The universities where we send them as to be top class.
First, we look at your credentials, how good you have scored in your undergrad, your WAEC, and then they look at your research proposal or your statement of purpose, how it fits into the needs of the industry. And then thirdly, we look at your professional memberships.
Application given by PTDF to let the people know that this kind of exercise is going on. And that's why you see all through the 6 geopolitical regions, people have applied and people have been selected.
I applied for a PhD scholarship, so I intend to look for ways in which we can mitigate flaring in oil and gas industry.
The panel would give you opportunity to talk and express yourself to your full capacity, and also share your statement of purpose. What made you pick the particular course, or why do you want their scholarship system?
The PTDF Overseas Scholarship Scheme has over the years successfully produced well-trained, competent and skilled professional manpower for various segments of the oil and gas industry. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amunike, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the education sector in Jigawa State is taking measures to ensure safe development spaces for women in the state. This was revealed during the inauguration of projects by Governor Umar Namadi at various senior girls' secondary schools in the state. Mahmoud Musa Askira reports.
Any schools, even those...
For Aisha Suleiman and many like her at Girls Science Secondary School Jahun, the ground has been watered for women to germinate and grow to sky-high limits in fulfilling their dreams. The free girl child education from primary to university level, the provision of free feeding for them, and the provision of school infrastructure and teaching materials, creating a conducive atmosphere for learning, has changed the narrative for girl child education pursued in Jigawa State for the better.
In this age of technology, having access to a modern and well-equipped computer laboratory is crucial for our education.
We have a lot of programs that has to do with the quality, that has to do with the quantity, and that what has to do with the infrastructural development, not only for girls' science education, but for general advancement of education in Jigawa State.
Of the commissioning of your computer laboratory, students' dining halls, schools' wall fencing, and the distribution of 30,000 sets of school uniforms for the girls' students at the Girls' Unity Secondary School Malamaduri and the Girls' Science Secondary School Jahun, stakeholders believe is a demonstration of commitments to change the position of Jigawa State from bottom to top on the national education chart. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Like an approaching tidal wave, Navy Week has officially set sail with a press conference marking the countdown to the Nigerian Navy's 68th anniversary. Next is a report on what to expect during the week and how the Navy's horizons have expanded since 1956. Drills from the high seas to ceremonial parades, and from firepower demonstrations to community outreach programs, the Navy is pulling out all the stops to showcase its might, its heart, and its commitment to protecting the nation's maritime interests.
During the occasion, the President and Commander-in-Chief will also commission 3 newly acquired ships and 2 helicopters, as well as declare open the International Maritime Exhibition, in which international and local maritime security-related companies will showcase their products and services.
The Chief of the Naval Staff, in a message delivered by the Chief of Policy and Plan, says this Navy Week celebration, as with others in the past, will serve as a scorecard of the Nigerian Navy's performance in Nigeria's service. Established in 1956, the Nigerian Navy, which started its operations with a handful of coastal boats, has widened its horizon into a force to be reckoned with in sub-Saharan Africa and the Gulf of Guinea. The Nigerian Navy boasts among its fleet 75 warships and is reckoned to be the 5th strongest in Africa. The Nigerian Navy is also considered well-trained and has participated in several peacekeeping missions. Now let's go full steam ahead to Lagos, where a lot of the Navy activities will be taking place. And Adiola is standing by with more reports from that zone. Ahoy there, Adiola.
Hi there to you. Welcome to Lagos. Nigeria's domestic financial market has been described as resilient and sophisticated, making strategic impact on government and corporate financing. Director General Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, made this remark while reviewing activities of the securities market and its impact on the Nigerian economy at an engagement with primary dealer market operators in Lagos. Hingino John Adams reports.
This meeting between the Debt Management Office, DMO,
and financial institutions is a follow-up to the one held at the beginning of the year to discuss the new borrowing plan of the federal government in 2024 fiscal year. While commending the market dealers for the successes recorded, the Director General of DMO explained that the sum of 4.9 trillion naira has so far been raised out of the 7.3 trillion naira approved for domestic borrowing by the National Assembly to fund the 2024 budget.
We cannot but appreciate the work that we have done collectively all these years. That's why, COVID came, countries couldn't go to the international capital markets. The markets were closed anyway. But we were able to raise the full amount and even more that we needed to fund the budget. And that has been the case. If you think about it, last year we raised 7 trillion naira, as new domestic borrowing. So it's basically the government's account overdrawn and the central bank saying you've exceeded your limit, put it in order. So when we raise those funds, they go to reduce that overdraft balance. So
President of the Financial Markets Dealers Association, FMDA, Nadia Zakari, asserted that the federal government and market operators are in strategic partnership to raise funds for national projects and interests.
Business environment is ever evolving, is constantly changing, and it's quite dynamic and unique when we take into consideration the nuances that is the Nigerian economy. So having that constant engagement is very, very crucial.
The meeting is also to chart a new course for market operations for the remaining part of the year. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
Lagos State Government has commenced this year's Hajj operations with the airlift of 425 pilgrims, which constitutes the first batch of intending pilgrims in line with the operational guidelines of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON. This was disclosed by the Commissioner for Home Affairs and the Amirul Hajj, Ibrahim Layode, after flagging off the inaugural airlift of intending pilgrims for this year's Hajj exercise in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
The inaugural airlift of pilgrims was born out of the directive from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria after NACON supervised the airlift of first batch of pilgrims from Kebbi State and Federal Capital Territory. Reality has now dawned on these 425 intending pilgrims as their dreams of meeting a vital obligation in Islam is now confirmed. The presence of the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Jalal Arabi, is meant to give good tidings of federal government support for a hitch-free Hajj exercise.
You are going to a foreign land, a land that has its laws, rules and regulations. Please make us proud as proud Nigerians by abiding by the rules and regulations of the country. Do the do's and don't do the don'ts. No.
Then, it was time for these first batch of intended pilgrims to commence their journey to the holy city of Medina in Saudi Arabia. As the airlift begins, there is need to get first-hand information on what NACON has done to address the challenges experienced during the last Hajj operation.
Every pilgrims got their visa now as I'm talking to you. So if you come with 10 flights now that you want to airlift pilgrims, they are ready. So different from what it used to be before. So we are improving.
We have conscientized them, giving them enough orientation what they may face over there.
We have been able to, to sponsor like 14 ulama.
Lagos State government is expected to airlift 1,800 intending pilgrims to the Holy Land in Saudi Arabia. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And we are done with our contribution from Lagos. The network news will continue after this break. Please stay with us.
Watching NTA Network News. Let's now talk business. Crude oil futures fell Monday as traders monitored developments in Iran after the Islamic Republic's president and foreign minister died in a helicopter crash. West Texas Intermediate crude for June contract was $79.57 a barrel, down 49 cents or 0.61%, while Brent July contract settled at $83.52 a barrel, down 46 cents or 0.55%. And other commodities, gold prices rose to an all-time high on Monday as a cocktail of factors from U.S. rate cut expectations, China's stimulus measures to geopolitical tensions lifted demand, with the momentum also carrying silver to a more than 11-year high. Let's see price of commodities. In the capital market, the NGX equities market began the first weekday of trade positive as investors gained 28.6 billion naira. The all-share index advanced by 0.05% to close at 98,176.58 basis points, a total of 405.6 million shares in 8,439 deals corresponding to a market value of 6.6 billion naira were traded. Data shows 188% improvement in volume, 29% decline in turnover, but 22% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 55.5 trillion naira. The session ended with 13 gainers and 29 losers. But that's it. The news continues after the break.
The Media and Publicity Subcommittee of the Interministerial Committee on President Bola Tinubu's first year in office has released the first phase of the timetable of activities lined up to mark the event. In a statement by Director, Information, Office of the Secretary of the Federation, the first anniversary schedule of events is expected to begin on Wednesday, 22nd May 2024, with a World Press Conference aimed at projecting the achievements and future plans of President Bola Tinubu's administration. The World Press Conference will be held at the National Press Center, Radio House, Abuja at 10 a.m., followed by sectoral updates focusing on each ministry's specific accomplishments and goals. It will continue till Friday, 24th May 2024. All briefing activities will be held at the National Press Center, Radio House, Abuja. As part of the transition process towards adoption of natural gas vehicles in Nigeria's transportation sector, 2 centers for conversion and refueling have been opened in Rivers State. Joy Uzo reports that the centers opened shortly after a stakeholders meeting by drivers of the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas nationwide.
Stakeholders engagement meeting at the instance of drivers of the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas, PCNG, is to enlighten citizens on the implementation process designed by the federal government to encourage transition to CNG vehicles, given that it is more beneficial in terms of affordability and environmental friendliness.
As a state, my governor before now has even set aside the 2 billion palliative that was given to Abia State to be used for CNG vehicles.
The PCNGI team has procured some kits that will be given to people to support their conversion when the scheme starts.
Program Director, Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas, PCNG, Michael Lugbemi, noted that natural gas is a more reliable source of energy for transportation. He disclosed the presidency's resolve to henceforth purchase only CNG vehicles.
Definitely, Nigerians stand to gain a lot from this energy transition in the transportation sector. First and foremost, CNG is our own resource. Natural gas is everywhere in Nigeria.
Use of CNG in transportation may not be a new technology, but adoption by Nigerians is relatively new. While participants accept it with open arms, they expressed the hope that it will stand the test of time. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Away from compressed natural gas, a London court has ruled that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange can appeal against extradition to the United States on espionage charges. Uche Ugochukwu reports.
London's High Court judges Victoria Sharp and Jeremy Johnson said WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange can appeal against extradition to the United States on espionage charges, as he has grounds to challenge the United Kingdom government's extradition order. 52-year-old Assange was indicted on 17 espionage charges and one charge of computer misuse over his website's publication of a trove of classified US documents almost 15 years ago.
A very good sign today. I think the US administration should take this as a moment to drop the case and to just put an end to it, to distance itself from this terrible prosecution.
The Australian computer expert has spent the last 5 years in a British high-security prison after taking refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for 7 years. The WikiLeaks founder was not in court to hear his fate being debated due to health reasons, according to his lawyer. In another news, South Africa's Constitutional Court, in a judgment handed down by Justice Lona Theron, ruled that former President Jacob Zuma's 15-month prison sentence for contempt of court has disqualified him from running in the May 29 election. Zuma was convicted in 2021 for refusing to testify at an inquiry investigating corruption during his presidency, which ended in 2018. He has been campaigning under the banner of the newly formed MK party after falling out with the governing ANC.
Up next is Sports Update.
On match day 2 of the Nigerian Women Football Super 6 in Bayelsa State, Rivers Angels secured a 2-1 victory over Edo Queens. In other results, Bayelsa Queens defeated Nasarawa Amazons by a lone goal, while the Confluence Queens bounced back from their first game disappointment to win 2-0 over Heartland Queens. The third-round matches resume on Wednesday. Meanwhile, in the Nigerian Premier Football League, Rivers United returned to winning ways after a hard-fought 3-2 victory over Niger Tornadoes in their final rescheduled match. After week 32, Enugu Rangers still remain top on the log with 57 points, followed by Remo Stars with 56 points, while Enyimba is in third position with 53 points. At the bottom of the table is Gombe United with 23 points. Sunshine Stars, Heartland, and Akwa United are in the relegation zone.
One worrying thing about the Nigerian Premier League is we don't have the consistency in the scheduling of the league. When it starts, when it ends, changes from season to season. I think the people running the league need to sit down and look at it, and we need to put our league in line with the calendar of international football leagues around the world. When teams are resting, Nigerian league also should be resting so that they can get ready for international competitions.
Liverpool have agreed the appointment of Arne Slot to replace Jurgen Klopp as manager on a 3-year contract from June 1st. The Reds agreed a compensation deal worth £9.4 million with the Dutch club in April after the 45-year-old was identified as Jurgen Klopp's replacement. With Sports Update, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu extends heartfelt condolences to the family of late Oba Yusuf Omokonye Oyikomi, the Elemono of Ilemono in Oyun local government area, of Kwara State, saying his passing leaves a huge vacuum in the repository of wisdom, integrity and courage he embodied. The President, however, celebrates the life of His Royal Majesty, who lived according to his untarnished principles of devotion to the Almighty, honesty, diligence and service to humanity. The President commiserates with the royal family, including his aide-de-camp, Colonel Nuruddin Yusuf, urging them to take comfort in the great legacy of the late monarch who lived a full life of accomplishment and impact. The President prays God Almighty to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest and comfort those in mourning. Similarly, President Bola Tinubu extends his deepest sympathies to the family of the late Prince Ajibola Alarape or Afonja, who passed away at the age of 82. The President, in a statement, describes the late Prince Afonja as a business colossus who served as chairman of the board of directors of First Bank and was Minister of Labor and Productivity under the interim national government in 1993. The late Prince Ajibola Alarape also applied his gift of knowledge and experience to the development of the country while extending his means and essence to several philanthropic pursuits. The President commiserates with the family, government and good people of Oyo State over the loss, praying God to grant the departed eternal rest. Next is the weather update.
Glad you could join us. There are prospects for morning rains to parts of Cross River and Akwa Ibom State, while other parts of the country will be mainly cloudy, but progressing into the afternoon and evening hours, there are higher chances of thunderstorms due to the moisture availability coupled with good energy. Widespread thunderstorms is expected over the southern half of the country as well as parts of Taraba and Kaduna State. However, we expect thunderstorms with little or no rainfall over the central cities. Please stay tuned for the temperature forecast. I remain Joyce Ogunleye, and I'll see you again.
The outlook seems cloudy, so plan your day wisely. On that note, we conclude the network news on NTA. Thanks for watching. I'm Naja'atu Tijani.